Good morning, brethren. It's a beautiful day and a beautiful lesson, and especially how it starts. It's more blessed to give than to receive. You know, this is a kind of, if there is anything that I have experienced in my life, this is the part that I have truly experienced. Everything, if I have opportunity to give, I can say this is the greatest blessing that I experience myself and my family when we have opportunity to give something. Doesn't mean there is no selfishness in us, but it's just such a beautiful concept that is being laid out here through our lesson. Question 1. Laboring under a curse. Now we're going back historically a little bit just to cover settings and of our lesson. What happened to the Jews while building a temple? There is a kind of a famous introduction into our topic. Tanya.
What was actually happening? King Darius issued a decree that Jews can go back and build, I think, a temple, right? And to restore the land where they were supposed to live now. But however, when it came to renovation of the temple, they were very reluctant. It's still not time, they said. And this to Prophet Haggai was giving a message. You said, I will just paraphrase, you said that it's not time to build God's temple, but what is with your houses? You're taking care of your houses, you're doing everything for yourself. And he's going to the point. He's saying, you have sown much and bring it little. You eat, but you not have enough. You drink, but are not filled with drunk. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages into a bag with holes. So there is a kind of curse among them because they didn't first think to first.
Yeah, and it is, and again, they came with horses and carriages and wagons, and they just had things. They didn't have any home or anything. So they had to start at some place and some things, and I'm sure there is a seasonal weather like here, winter, summer, and so on. So there was definitely some needs. Except in this whole process, we see how it carried from building a temporary shelter for themselves. The house of God was neglected.
We should consider those things because it's applicable for us. Now we are in the point where we like to go to renovate our church, So we need means to do it. We need the laborers to help out, things. We should consider to put it in a practical way, things. Because everybody was renovating house at one point, but this church was not renovated almost at all for the last 30 years. I was here when baptized 3 years ago, and everything is same. So I think I had to consider those things.
Very, very, very practical thing. Now, as Tanya mentioned a little bit, but let's say our lesson leads us that way. How does God consider withholding the tithes and offerings, and what are the results, and why does they end up in a curse? So now, several ideas here, but go ahead, brother.
Yes, in Exodus 20:15 is very plain. It's very plain. It says, "Thou shalt not steal." So, how do we steal from the Lord? Well, we withhold the means for His cause. He wants to be with us, and we are to have the truth and so forth, and we are to support ministers and Bible workers and all of those who are leading out in propagating the gospel. They have to have means also. So in regards of withholding, then the curses come. There is no blessings because whatever thy hands do, everything that you try to accomplish slips through the fingers. Nothing is being accomplished. You're losing out because you're withholding from God.
Absolutely. Now, and then to put the whole kind of section into the real context, I'll go to the C and then we can summarize it together. What is necessary to bring about a change? So going back to Haggai and Malachi and a previous question, and what was the kind of the Why was it necessary? Go ahead, Sister.
Necessary was to go back to the Lord and obey Him, to give our tithes and offerings, what was necessary to the Lord.
Yeah. just to restore what is already, yeah. And go ahead, Yaramir.
Yeah, it is like God is blessing us like a lot and things, yeah, but the tithe belongs to God, right? And we have to return to Him. That means, yeah, it's not just because like things, yeah, so there was the Levitical system was introduced and things, the tithe was there because the Levites didn't have any inheritance, right? The things, yeah, ministers don't have any other employment, right? Things, yeah, they're here to help us and serve us and things, yeah. But we hold the tithe, we like, no, it makes things hard for the ministers, and we lose ourselves the spiritual blessings. And after letting, yeah, if the truth is not taught as supposed to be, like, no, how do you end up, right?
I mean, and there's so many comments to make, but there is a little problem because lesson leads us through all those logical comments. So if I have omitted something, or if you think of something at the end, let's bring it back up to make it in a full context as it is together. Monday, Elias' message. Why do we need to study the life of Elijah? Did I mix up? I pushed the wrong button? No, it is the correct lesson. Elias the message. No. So everybody's looking blank at me. I say, because sometimes I look at you and I push the wrong button, and here and I look back and get confused. Go ahead.
Brought into concept here when we are talking about restitution or to bring all things. Now, we know very well to say that there are three Elijahs that are there. We have Elijah the Tishbite, then we have John the Baptist who came in the spirit of Elijah, and then we who are living now, we are the Elijahs, the third Elijah. So we need to restitute all things. Now, here they are talking about the tithe and offerings that have been taken by robbery. There is a difference between theft and robbery. Robbery is when you use force, and this is what has been happening with us. We use force. We know that this money does not belong to us. Then we take it by force. We don't steal, we rob. And then we have to restitute everything that we have taken by robbery.
Thank you. Thank you, brother. Yaramir?
Yeah, it is like the both Elijah and John the Baptist, and like they live in the quite a bit in the time of national apostasy. Everything was corrupted. They was just got there. All truth was misunderstood. There were like lots of traditions and stuff like that. Was things. Yeah, and they bring the message of truth, right? Message of reformation, And since that time, the things start changing, very important. So because the people forget to give the tithes and offering, everything was kind of there, and people doing taking the tithes and offering for wrong reasons, right? Things, yeah. But they here they correct those things. Yeah, we had to study them because now we are also living in the time of absolute apostasy, right? But somebody had to carry the torch, and it's good to see that we have somebody before us do so and give us a hope, encouragement how to do and stay strong.
Now, as we are going further, we can see some different aspects of this whole message. Now here it's where it comes to really kind of bringing us closer to the reality, accepting God as the creator and learning how to trust in Him. And we have such a beautiful example here, because often all of the things have been excused in our life. So there is a difficult time, there is a difficult circumstances, and so on, and whatever and so on. But let's see here, if we consider that we are working with God, who is the creator, and by doing this we acknowledge His supremacy and His ultimate care for us. So He's the one ultimately caring for us. Now, in this context, go to the question B. How is giving a vital part of a life-giving message? Little story in Elisha's kind of experience. Go ahead, Tama.
Very, very interesting story. We have Prophet Elijah coming to a widow of Zarephath. Yeah, and she has only son. And he's asking her to fetch some water, and that's fine. She was fetching water. And later on, he asked for a morsel of bread or of cake, right? It's kind of bread, right? And she told him, I cannot give you because I'm just having a little bit to make for my son and me, and after that we will die. And he said, yes, go and make for me first. And he said that oil and bread she will have for enough time. I'm again paraphrasing. Can you imagine that fate? You are about to die. Your son is about to die. He must be very dear to her heart. And now prophet is asking first to bring for him and then to go and to make for herself, whatever. But she had a faith, and she listened to whatever he told her. She made him first this bread and gave him, and later on we know that there was a report that for many days she had oil and flour or something like that for meat. So this is very, very big, experience, and it's said in a note that there was no greater test of faith than this, and she passed this with flying colors.
And in more or less, 2.5, 3 years was this period that where she truly enjoyed the benefits of this kind of reacting to God's call and reacting to Elisha's call, and and following the faithfulness or this concept. I mean, it is such a remarkable thing, and it has been left for us as an example for us to consider and think that we are dealing with a God who is the creator, who brings things out of nothing. And this is why our relationship with Him should be at a different level and a different trust. And truly, this will uplift our faith. This starting to do this experience will definitely bring our faith up. Anybody? Go ahead.
We can see the analysis of why a person who gives is blessed than the one who receives. If my pockets are full, where will be the space for God to give me? Nothing. But as soon as I empty them, I give out. There is a void that is created. Then God comes and fills it. That is how the blessings come. Because if you withhold, you don't give, there's no room. Where to put? So this widow here, she practiced the practical religion that we are supposed to. And this is part of our message, brother. The message of salvation is accompanied by giving. So if we don't give, we are not going to be saved. Clearly.
Thank you, brother. Well, Jim, microphone.
God would not ask us to do anything that was impossible to do. And this is where faith comes in, because He is asking us to give for a very important reason. And in this is a sacrifice on our part in faith. And if there's something that we need to do in life today, and that is to be able to share the truth with others, this requires a sacrifice. It may mean means, it may mean our time, and also even our energy. These are the things that we have to give of ourselves to others. And this is something that we have to learn, that not everything in life that comes to us is ours alone. It is to be given to others. We are stewards of God's goods, and we have to share them with others. And as we do that, then the blessings come back to us also too, because there is a complete circle going around here. We cannot continue to give because we will run out, but God is always replenishing everything for us as we give out to others.
Thank you. Jaromir.
Yeah, we have more example, like, this kind of things, with like message or things, with Abraham, right? He didn't have able to have the children. And then 3 people walking in the desert, and he invited them, right? The things, if he feed them, like, he things, they say, oh, like, next year come, you have the child here, right? Like, what a difference, right? The things, same with Lot. he saw two strangers walking around. Oh, come to me. It's evening, this city is kind of not safe, stay with me a little bit and things, yeah. And his life was preserved. So it's very important,
through the great, in this case, great danger and sacrifice. Now, connecting with the same topic as we are concluding this question with this question C, why does God give possessions to people and including the poor? So, how does put this in the context? Possessions, and why do we have a poor with us? That kind of summarizing whatever we were going, the path that we were already talking. Go ahead, brother.
The poor are there for us to practice benevolence. God has intended and He has specified in His word that the poor will be with us always to the end of the world. So, if the poor are not there, then we cannot have anywhere to practice the benevolence, which is part of our faith.
Thank you. I mean, this is a personal experience that we all have opportunity to deal with. And God has put people in our path that are in this position. Whatever society we are, whatever community we are, God has given people in our part, so we have opportunity and we can experience this, what we have mentioned so far. Brother?
It could be also also to test us, to test our faith, to see if we are willing to give to a person that's more unfortunate than we are.
Yeah, no, I mean, the same experience, we can call it in two different ways. God can test our faith, but we have opportunity to test God and be faithful to Him and to see how great He is. So it is a beautiful term. This topic itself, it is so broad, but it is something that how God has created us. If we follow Him as our Creator, this is how we respond to it. But certainly, what you're saying, it has been used. Clearly it has been used, the term in the Bible, that God is testing us how faithful we are. But at the same time, we can use the same term. We are sort of either testing or experiencing God, how good He is towards us, through the same experience. Tanya?
Because in question, we are asked how even poor can give something, right?
As well.
Everybody can give something. And we have example of the widow who just gave 2 mites. And before her, they were going these Pharisees and rabbis, and they were, ostentatiously were giving this money. And Jesus was looking, from the corner, and He said that she gave more than them because she gave whatever she had. And they were giving from their abundance, right? So, sometimes maybe people who don't have much, they said, oh, I cannot give much. But if you are giving from your heart, from the deep of your heart, for God, that is more than enough.
Absolutely. And especially in this, when Jesus was facing this, the rich were taking smaller coins. So when they're pouring in, it kind of was a process by itself. And she quietly, hiding, just dropped. So, I mean, to me, just the kind of contrast itself sees that how human heart can go so far away, and what God valued in what He pointed out. So. And even this day, we always mention this widow and how many millions of people are reading through this and mentioning this, and of those other Pharisees don't even know who you are and what there was, and what Jesus Himself didn't want to mention it. He just mentioned her. So we can see what the value does faithfulness and our call that He has put in our heart does in our life. Yeah,
we have here also the example of that young Jewish ruler. He was running after Jesus Christ and saying, "Good master, what you can do to inherit eternal life?" Right? Things God say, to keep the commandments. I keep the commandments from my youth, and I was there. I cannot just keep the potential, but because he was rich, the things, and the things, he had to say, sell what you have, give to the poor, and you have the treasure in heaven. Take your cross and follow me, right? And that was too much for him, right? He went back sorrowful. And you have the other example with the Zacchaeus. Was also a rich man and things like that, and things, but if I steal from somebody, I give it 4 times, right? Things, I half things I give it to poor people. And say, now the salvation come to this house. It's very important, the God has blessed us and things that we have to, don't give it our glory to ourselves. We have to give glory to God and to those who are needy.
Question 3, reversing the course. Is there a way to reverse course, or path, or a direction? What does the Malachi suggest? Yeah, Tanya, go ahead.
I would just like to read verse 10. It says here, "Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in my house, and prove me now herewith, said the Lord of hosts. If I will not open you the windows of heaven, and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it." Isn't that a beautiful blessing?
Look, yeah, that's just the statement itself. I mean, this is God speaking. So it is not some proverb. It is a God speaking right from His directly message that was directly directed to to His peoples through the prophet. So, and I mean, to me, it's such an encouraging, such a beautiful message. Jeremy, you want to say?
Yeah, we have the example how those Christian nations, how they were faithful in nowadays, right, to God. And they have have prosperity. Everything was going good. But see now as they closing up the church, has converted them to something else and stuff like that, the curse is coming.
Yeah.
The things, because of that. But there is hope that you can return it back, the things, But we have to go there, we have to put God in His place and return to God what belongs to God. The things, and God will still be merciful and give the blessing.
Yeah. And in the process of restoration, question B, we have a kind of a beautiful. Wanted to say something? Okay, go ahead, brother.
You should understand also the spirit of prophecy is giving us a principle that we must follow when we are reversing the case. If I have withheld the tithe, I cannot bring exactly what I withheld. We were told they had to put interest on it. Now, the principle of restitution, when we read in Exodus chapter 22, verse 7, if you have stolen money that does not belong to you, you cannot bring exactly that money. You have to double it. So, for us to reverse a case, we should not be just happy to return only that which we have, but we should put something on top in order to reverse it. Or else we may return and we return exactly what we're supposed to remit as tithe. Then the case is still continue.
Thank you. Question B. In a practical way, in the Nehemiah's time, it says, what is the result if the tithes are not going where they should? And then kind of connecting the following question, what happened when it was done what it's supposed to be done? So let's say that it's kind of a beautiful example and a beautiful kind of follow-up. Not just a call. It was a call because what happened with that Nehemiah's time? It's a beautiful story. Go ahead, Tanya.
And people are not giving tithes, right? And the Levites would not be supported. And they had to flee to find something else
some work.
to do and to take care of their families, right? So that was, and later Nehemiah, when he saw this problem, he reinstituted this institution of giving tithes. He was calling people to give tithes, and he returned some of these Levites to their work, and priests.
Yeah, and then I mean, okay, I guess we are going a little bit later, but part of it, why people didn't give the tithes was mismanagement there. So that's why he made a great point how to manage it well. But it's on the next question. So beautiful. Historically now we can see what happened to the whole nation and the whole priesthood and Levites and that teaching and so. Basically, the whole society fell apart because of this point. And how we have an enemy that always creates the reasons and circumstances and kind of, in a way, attacks the society to follow the same steps so that the whole system could be destroyed. Go ahead, Jaromir.
Yeah, it is like, we just got like, say, all the title, the minister they have there, like, live from the title and things, yeah. But we have to consider the people who play piano, and the things, yeah, people who play music, people who are doing the treasury work, right? The people who do media department, the things, yeah. They have to be also some kind of this is a kind of compensation, We cannot maybe pay him the center of that, but still we can go and if you bring it that level forward, and things, yeah, people know that his work is appreciated, right? He will do much better work than just doing for the things, yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, brother.
Here we are not bound by feeling that the church or God does not want us to be free. We are told if we see any mismanagement, what are we supposed to do? Keeping quiet also, it is not godly. When we know to say that the tithe that we are emitting is not used properly, and then we keep quiet. No, it is the same like withholding. But then we have to follow the procedure. Plainly, we are told you go and complain to the right ones. The spirit of prophecy is very good, and in the right spirit. Then things may be fixed. Because sometimes we may feel that there is misappropriation. There isn't. And sometimes we feel there is misappropriation, and it is indeed there, because we are humans. Even in the time of Jesus, we had still misappropriation.
Yeah.
So, but the spirit and the procedure is well led here,
Yes.
that we have to follow.
Now, to me, we are starting now to get a whole picture in the section 4 and consider ownership. And to me, this is the most beautiful part. If this is part of our heart and if we live our life in this context, then other things will be much easier. How do we see the principle of giving in recognition of God's ownership in the history of Garden of Eden? I asked actually I did together. If you want to comment more, because it was, to me, was what was the problem and how the solution was there. So ownership. Question A, how do we see the principle of ownership in the beautiful story of Garden of Eden? Our context or our relationship to this. Brother.
Things have been created by God for our enjoyment, so we should give a tenth of all that we have in recognition that we are appreciative of what God has created.
Yeah, when God created, He created a garden. That's kind of the way I see it. Often when we say garden, people in the city have a garden with 3 feet by 3 feet. Here it says that it was a garden in the context of everything that we know. There could have been 1 million trees that are bearing fruit. But He said, look, there is in the middle of the garden, there is one that I command you not to take, or I tell you not to take, because if you do, there are terrible consequences. So this is kind of the relationship that is to me set here. Go ahead, brother.
Yes, just on the same, we see the Garden of Eden being a large place, but God taking only 1 tree. Then also, the principle of tithing also is the same. You see, God is just asking 1 out of 10 things that we have. But what about the 9/10? They are ours. But we leave the 9/10, we even follow that 1/10. God is not poor for us to be thinking the silver, the gold, and everything. There is. In fact, the money that we remit on tithe, does it go to heaven? It doesn't
go to heaven.
There is not even a place
God
for our
doesn't
dirty
either.
money to stay in heaven. But we have to create a storehouse in the house of God for the ministry. And then God also give us an opportunity to be benevolent, to take part in the
Be part of it. It's a beautiful, beautiful kind of a concept, and it is a kind of the first foundation of everything else that we are talking. once we consider that God is the creator and He owns everything, and by me following, I acknowledge this. By me not following this, I'm not acknowledging that He is my creator, my God, and for whom was the tithe set aside and why? So we're going first concept, creating as God as a creator, but now we say actually tithe. What is being done with the tithe? For whom has it been set aside? Maybe we said it already in a way, but we just want to sort of look at it from a specific angle. What does it say in Deuteronomy? Everybody wants, okay, yeah.
Yeah, the thing is basically what happened over there, they are about to inherit the promised land, right? There are 12 tribes, so each tribe was given the place where it should stay and things, but just the tribes of Levites didn't have the inheritance, right? They mentioned over there, mentioned that the priests and Levites and all the tribes of Levi shall have not part in the inheritance with Israel, but shall take the eat of the offerings of the Lord made by fire and his inheritance. Therefore shall they have no inheritance among the brethren, the Lord is their inheritance. He had said unto them.
So there was no any more land there?
God,
what was the reason?
God could divide and give to something, but there was providential, I think, yeah. And the tribes of Levites were kind of proven faithful at the apostasy with the golden calf and worship. They stood faithful, I think, yeah. They were chosen to defend the cause of God, to stand for God.
But I see here directly God created a society where there is a dependency, and in this dependency, He wanted to make it clear that our whole society is dependent on God, because if there is nothing, there is nothing. There is nothing for nobody. But we are all dependent on God, and God wanted to sort of to create this, that there is a direct dependency of certain people on my faithfulness, and sort of to instilling a little bit more and a little bit closer to the reality of life, that we are all dependent on God. So now, I can see clearly that God created this concept, and God wanted us to, by practicing this concept, for us to be blessed. Thursday, ministry. Now the same idea that we just in the previous question, we will see how it is being translated to us in our days, because we don't have a tribal system. We don't have a particular tribes that are not just living from the tithes. Who was to be with the Levites in gathering the funds? Connecting it to Nehemiah, to the previous question. Go ahead, Tanya.
It says here that a priest, more particular, the son of Aaron should be with Levites, and when the Levites are collecting these tithes, then a tenth part of that, so tenth of tenth, should be given even for the priests and their ministry.
Yeah, for a temple ministry. So even this tenth of a tenth, this idea of a tenth of a tenth, we see that it has a history where it is coming from and how it should be handled, specifically for the temple service itself. Question B: what were the Levites required to do with the tithes in order to support the priests? Again, just a kind of. Go ahead, brother.
They had also to return the tithe. From the tithe that they received, they had also to return the tithe. No one was exempted. And that is why we are told there, because the priests and the Levites were not given any inheritance for the reason because these were set aside to do God's work in the sanctuary. So they had no inheritance where to get the money from. They needed to take the money that is coming from the sanctuary. And we should understand that part of it is because that holy tithe sanctifies the users. So it is also part of the process of sanctification for the Levites to depend on the tithe and not any other person.
Question C. How does the principle apply to the Christian era, and what will be the result if we are faithful in giving? So just transfer this into the Christian era, and how is it, how is the practicality of it in the Christian era? Yeah. Tanya, would you like? Or?
I can read it as the 13 and 14 verses. Do you not know that they which minister about holy things live of the things of the temple, and they which wait at the altar are partakers with the altar? Even so had the Lord ordained that they which preach the gospel should live of the gospel. So what was the rule in the old Israel time? It's a rule the same as today. So who are ministers, they are supposed to live of the 10% which are given from all our, income.
Even the Paul lived his ministry by his own self-supporting ministry. However, the rule is, he made it very clear that the ministry should live from the tithes or from the benefits of the ministry. I just wanted to sort of...
Now, here we are told also, the Hebrews, their contribution, we are told it was 1/4. And this was, we're talking about 25%. This was too much that we expected poverty to be there, but it was not. That is where their prosperity depended. Then we have other statement of the spirit of prophecy that is talking about 1/3 of the contribution, which is about 33%. Now, when we look at that, we will fit to say it is too much. Now, in those days, if they required 1/4 or 1/3, what about now? We have a wider fields, we have more work to be done, which means we have to give more than the Israelites we are giving.
But what is when we started to go and test God, how great He is, and remember that all the blessings come from Him. I was in the notes that I missed it exactly, I didn't point it in the right spot, but it clearly said that God is withdrawing our blessings when we do not obey this way. And he says, and cases of the ones who don't feel this, even worse. So in a way, if we see in our experiences that God, that when we are faithful, that God blesses us more, this is the concept that God has wanted us to feel, to be encouraged, to go beyond this, what brother was saying, 10%, go beyond this 1/4, go beyond this 1/3 of our income. Because blessing that God can give, there is no way we can somehow match even in our imaginations. But again, to curb the selfishness, we will be very, very careful. It is not like a high investment bank, so we give God and God automatically gives to us. It is God's discretion when He gives and how He gives. But and if He gives and in which way He gives. Did not say if we give money we'll get the money and none of that stuff. Let us personally make the experiences with God on this point. So,
we should also consider that to not neglect the orphans and widows, those in poor, I think. Yeah, so maybe consider in our church, do have some widows which need the help?
I mean, definitely this giving concept. We know where 10% goes, and the rest can be certainly allocated for all other purposes that are worth to be giving, and especially what you mentioned, if somebody is in need, our hearts should be, so willing to give that we can fulfill all their needs that they have. Go ahead, Lars.
We just cannot outgive God because, as the scripture says, pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. This is the magnitude in what God is able to do for each and every one of His faithful stewards to be able to advance for the cause. And this is something that we all should consider, because if we are dealing with God, He is our business partner in everything that we do, because there is finances involved. We have to be diligent in economy as well as everything else in portraying to Him what is necessary, what is the most important thing in life, and that is to give life to others, and that is eternal life. And if we shortcome this in this complete circle of being able to give out to God, then there is going to be consequences, and these consequences are grave in themselves. And so we need to consider giving to God is something that is a blessing for all. And even those who are less in their finances, they too can be blessed also, because as we give to God, we are all blessing together.
Thank you. As we are kind of concluding our lesson, may God is the one who blesses everyone, and may He bless us as we consider those topics. And He is the one that we can start experience with Him in a greater way than we have been done now. Thank you for everyone.